say I want that redrawn, then I wouldn't have these fine people here in my district. Well, would I? Of course I wouldn't say anything like that. No, actually, it's very much disenfranchising to all of us. Regardless of whether you're Republican or Democrat, it's disenfranchising because you're supposed to be able to organize with your neighbors. You're supposed to be able to have an outreach. You start, used to be able to go block to block and build a coalition of people and be able to educate them and have them go to their neighbors and so forth. And that's the way things should be done. But right now you can't do that. I have to drive, an hour and a half just to get here from my home in Annapolis, and I'm meeting a lot of people for the first time tonight. These are not, my next door neighbors like they should be. But like I said, it also disenfranchises you regardless of what party you're in, because my opponent ran against someone and only got 13% of the vote. This is a staggering number that, because he's an incumbent, it allows him to be able to get his name out to people a lot easier than it does for someone who wants to challenge. So if you wanted to challenge, if you were sitting in my seat at some point when I'm the congressman, it's going to be equally as difficult for you to be able to organize with your people and to be able to take me out if I'm not representing you the way that I should. Also, there's a couple of points on this map that are absolutely silly. Going from St. Margaret's to Gibson Island by boat is the only way to get across there. There's actually several other rivers that cross-sect the district over around the St. Margaret's area that goes all the way back to the district line. So you have to, I heard it takes 12 hours to get around this. This is not the way that the district should be run. Now, unfortunately, there's nothing in the Maryland Constitution that says that it can't be done this way. So what's going to happen when we do send it back on the ballot? It's going to go back to the same people that are going to possibly make it even worse, and we're going to have to go through this process all again. So it's really a double-edged sword for all of us, and all we can do is hope. What we need to do is we need to work within our state legislation to craft amendments to our state constitution so that it can go to an independent advisory board that will oversee this, instead of having partisan politics, decide what it's going to be. If it's a Republican governor one year, it's going to be, gerrymandered for the Republicans. It's just not the fair way to be done. It needs to be done so that the community can work, with its neighbors and be able to build a force to be politically involved. Right now, it is, believe me, it's very difficult to be politically involved. It takes 12 hours or more to reach every point in that district. That's not the way it should be. I should be able to go out, drive, and go to people's houses and talk to them and let them know where I started from and how to get to these points. If you look at Iowa, they have a great example of the way that the line should be drawn. It's almost a cross right through the middle of the state, and that's the way I think it should be done here.
I appreciate the question right at the beginning, because I know this is a question on a lot of people's minds. And let's think about how we got here. First of all, I'm not going to pretend that the lines of any of the districts in Maryland are neat and tidy. Can't do that. You start from the fact that Maryland has got a weird shape to begin with, and you've got the Chesapeake Bay right in the middle of it as a challenge. Then you have to deal with these population shifts that have occurred. And over the last 10 years, and the reason that we go and we redraw these lines at the congressional levels, because the census indicates that population is shifted, so you don't have the same number of people in each district as you're required to by the Constitution. So over the last 10 years, there have been population shifts. In fact, one of the shifts is that there's been more growth here in the Washington area, for example, than in the Baltimore area. So that also puts pressure on the legislature in terms of how it draws these lines. What you've ended up with is districts that have an odd shape. I concede that. My district had an odd shape before it. I inherited a district that was drawn 10 years ago. That wasn't the easiest one to get around. But I made the pledge when that happened that I would work as hard as I could to represent everybody in that district.